Good day. Whatever time it is, wherever you are, I greet you digitally. My name is Charlie Rose. I'm the Dean and Professor of Law at Ohio Northern University Claude W. Pettit College of Law. And this module is one of a series of modules that I've created that support one of my textbooks, Fundamental Trial Advocacy, the 4th edition, with West Academic Publishing. This is a mini module, and you'll see 3 mini modules that deal with asking questions. So let's just jump right in. We'll get started and see how it goes. When I'm thinking about the ability to ask a question and to have an answer that works in the courtroom setting or in a deposition setting or in a dispute resolution, I am trying to create music that is pleasing to the ear, pleasing in a way that is persuasive. And there's a wonderful quote by Shakespeare here. The man that hath no music in himself, nor is not moved with concord of sweet sounds, is fit for treasons, stratagems, and spoils. And as lawyers, as attorneys, one of the things that we use to truly communicate, to make our music, if you will, in the courtroom, is the ability to ask questions. And asking questions have multiple pieces. There's the introduction, there's the connecting, there's the open-ended, and there's the closed-ended questions. And what I'm going to do in this module is talk to you about headlines. And these are the basic introductory phrases that we use to get the ball rolling, to let the witness know where we are, to let the jury know where we're going. Let's get into it. For resources, you can go and look at Mastering Trial Advocacy, Fundamental Trial Advocacy that this text is with, Fundamental Pre-Trial Advocacy, and I would also recommend to you The Trial Advocate, which is a channel on YouTube under my name, and the Rose Advocacy website that's been put together by West. There's a repository for PowerPoint slides, teacher's manuals that support this text and other texts. When I think about using headlines, introductory phrases, during direct examination, I think of them as signposts. They let the jury know where we're going, and they let the jury know why what we're going to talk about now is important. The basic questioning techniques that you'll see in these modules are headlines, opened or non-leading questions, and closed or leading questions. We use headlines in both direct examination and cross-examination. We use open-ended questions primarily in direct examination, and we'll talk about why when you get to the block on direct examination, but for now, just take it as a matter of faith that open-ended questions are primarily found in direct examination, and closed-ended questions, questions that suggest the answer, questions that control the witness, questions that put the witness on the point of the spear, those are found during cross-examination. Today we're going to talk about headlines in this block of instruction. So the idea is that we want to begin well to end well. And when I think of headlines, I see 3 different ways in which I do this. One is where I introduce a topic to let everybody know where we're going. Think of it as a signpost that we put up in the road that is used by everyone, the lawyer, the witness, the judge, the jury, to understand why what we're about to hear is important. Transitional phrases are when I move from one topic to another topic. And they happen naturally when we're talking to people, but you kind of have to plan them when we're doing a direct examination. The nice thing about a transitional phrase is it lets everyone know that a new topic is coming. Looping and coupling phrases, on the other hand, help us underline something that we want the listener to remember is important. So when I loop an answer from a previous question back into the next question, I'm saying, hey, I need you to remember this. When I couple 2 ideas together in a coupling question, I'm making a logical inference that I want the jury to make. So looping and coupling can be very powerful when done properly, and they can be massively annoying when done improperly. Now, here's some basic introductory phrases. Let's talk about what happened on the night of June 5th. Mr. Witness, we're now going to discuss your relationship with the accused. We all know that the witness has a relationship with the accused, and that's what we're going to talk about next. And then the classic, please direct your attention to. That can be a night, it can be a date, it can be an event, it can be an exhibit. I'm focusing the witness. And through the question to the witness, through the phrase to the witness, I'm focusing the jury on what's coming next. These are great ways to break up a direct examination because they become a signpost, a subheading, almost like the beginning of a chapter to the inquiry that we're about to do next. It makes them very useful for us as lawyers. And they reflect the way that people actually think when they do this work. And because they reflect what's inside of us, they sound like people normally talking, they're more persuasive. And our goal always is to be likable, believable, and credible in the minds of the listener. And this allows us to accomplish that in a way that also keeps us on track, quite frankly, because it's an organizational construct, and everybody knows lawyers love organization. So a transitional introductory phrase signals to the listener that we're moving on to something else. They're pretty classic. Let's now talk about what happened after X, Y, or Z. And now I want to move to. Now I'd like to discuss with you, we will now turn to. In each of these, what's the word? Now. I'm signaling that we're moving on. That lets everybody know something new is coming next. They're very useful. They transition us from one way to the other. They also signal transition. And transitions are important when we're putting a direct examination together because it allows for us to highlight the change. Transitions are important on a cross-examination for the same reason. They can also foreshadow the fact that something's coming that's going to be interesting, that's going to be conflict, and they can help us set up the interest in that topic before we get to it. Now, looping or coupling questions are probably the most difficult to consider, so I've got some examples right here. Let's take a look at them. Mr. Witness, I draw your attention to what happened immediately after the gun went off. So I focus the witness on a finite moment in time. What happened next? We all know now, listening, that whatever the witness says happened next happened in conjunction with the sound of that gun being fired. Places it in context, and in a trial when we're dealing with time and circumstance and connecting one action to a logical inference to another, it's a very powerful phrase. Answer: I saw the defendant drop the gun to the floor and walk quickly towards the exit of the restaurant. Well, that's a great fact, right? Puts the gun in the defendant's hand, shows the defendant getting rid of the gun, and shows the defendant fleeing the scene. So, after the defendant let his gun drop to the floor and began to quickly walk out of the restaurant, what did you do? I am emphasizing, I'm highlighting this fact that I got on direct examination that's important to my case. Looping and coupling questions are a lot like Jafar in the lamp in the Disney movie Aladdin. They have phenomenal cosmic power within the appropriate space. But if you use them all the time, they lose all impact. They no longer register with the listener as something that's important, and they sound instead like a verbal tick from the speaker. You want to avoid that because that makes you less interesting, that makes you less believable, makes you less credible.